The obsidian doors groaned as they opened, not by invitation, but by override. A dozen alien counselors froze mid-session. Their elongated forms, shimmering robes, and glass-smooth scales reflected the cold blue glow of the Citadel's chamber. No alarms sounded. No guards charged. Just silence and the sound of footsteps, slow, deliberate, boots hitting metal with the weight of something ancient. A man stepped into the room. Not a synthetic. Not a clone. Not a mimic species. A human. His suit was scarred, military-grade but centuries out of date. A faded Earth defense patch clung to his shoulder, half-seared. A dark cloak hung from his back like a funeral shroud. His eyes didn't flicker with fear or rage. Just quiet calculation. The calm before a detonation. One of the counselors, an insectoid with 7 crystal eyes, clicked a warning in its native tongue. Security breach. Remove the intruder. Try, the man said flatly, and every light in the chamber dimmed by 20%. Chancellor Vashar stood. Tall, glimmering, every movement regal and contemptuous. Identify yourself, abomination. The man reached into his coat and pulled out a singed data tag. He flicked it toward the center of the war table. It landed with a clatter. I am Commander Elias Rhane. Earth Defense Command. Human. Born in the Martian colony of Argus III. Serial ID, irrelevant now, isn't it? A low gasp rippled through the room. That's not possible, said Counselor Varric of the Venshi Dominion. The species was sterilized. Genetically erased. There are no surviving humans. Then I'm a ghost, Elias said, voice steady. And I'm haunting you. The silence broke into chaos. Some shouted in their native dialects, demanding his immediate disintegration. Others simply stared, trying to make sense of a figure they'd only seen in redacted archives and purged records. For centuries, humanity had existed only as a cautionary tale in war academies, too violent, too cunning, too dangerous to coexist. Elias took 3 steps closer to the war table. I'm not here by accident. I forced your AI to grant me access. Your systems don't even remember what a human clearance code looks like. Sloppy. Vashar motioned subtly to a side wall. 4 Zanari guards stepped from hidden recesses, weapons raised. Elias didn't blink. Fire, and this chamber seals permanently. Your AI's already under my directive. I've rerouted lockdown authority to my pulse signature. Shoot, and you'll be negotiating the Rotari Rebellion with smoke signals. The weapons lowered, hesitantly. I didn't come to start a war, Elias said. But I will finish one, if needed. Chancellor Vashar narrowed his gaze. You broke into a classified council session. That alone is treason punishable by immediate execution. Funny word, treason, Elias replied. When you're the ones who erased an entire species and called it peacekeeping. One of the younger counselors leaned forward. You expect us to believe you're that human? You'd be over 400 years old. I was asleep for most of them. Cryostasis. AI assisted. Woke up in a derelict cruiser with nothing but a voice whispering, they're still out there. He paused, letting that hang in the air. The room was still. Even the Citadel's ever-humming walls seemed to hold their breath. You think I came here to die? Elias asked, softer now. No. I came to remind you what you buried. He pulled a small device from his belt. A hologram bloomed above it, grainy footage, raw and imperfect. Children laughing in a dome city. Soldiers planting flags on Europa. A mother kissing her daughter before boarding a Mars transport. Simple things. Human things. The counselors didn't move. I watched Earth burn, Elias whispered. From orbit. My command ship was one of the last. We thought the Zanari were negotiating peace. Turns out, they were stalling while targeting our oceans. He let that settle. Vashar finally broke the stillness. You had unstable genetics. Unchecked aggression. You were a threat to the balance. The council acted in defense of all civilized life. No, Elias said. You acted out of fear. You couldn't control us, so you exterminated us. The hologram shifted. A new clip. A dark sky over the Pacific. A fleet of Zanari ships descending. The oceans vaporizing. Screams. Directive 27, Elias said. I found the files. Scrubbed from your history. You sterilized our worlds. You rewrote the archives. You even forged interstellar maps to pretend Earth never existed. But I'm standing here. And that means everything you buried just clawed back to the surface. A red light blinked above the chamber door. Seal engaged. You're not leaving this room, Vashar said coldly. Elias smiled faintly. That's the idea. He turned his gaze toward the war table's display. Plans for the upcoming extermination of the Rotari rebels flickered across the screen. You're about to do it again, Elias said. Erase another species. Same playbook. New victims. We maintain order, Vashar snapped. You maintain control, Elias corrected. But order built on lies collapses. Eventually. I'm just moving the timetable forward. He walked slowly to the edge of the table, hands behind his back. Calm. Dangerous. I came here to deliver a message. Not to beg for mercy. Not to plead for justice. Just a message. He pressed a button on his wrist. A second display flickered on, a star chart. Dozens of systems highlighted. Communication nodes. Rebellion whispers. Suppressed species flagged in council blacklists. They think you're untouchable, Elias said. But they're watching. Waiting. All they needed was proof you could bleed. He turned back to the council. I am that proof. The chamber lights pulsed once. Then again. Vashar spoke in a hiss. You're one man. And that's one more than you expected. Elias stepped back, turned, and walked to the center of the room. The ceiling's light split into a spotlight over him. A war relic standing beneath the weight of a forgotten world. He looked up, not at the ceiling, but through it, past the citadel, into the stars. They tried to erase us. They failed. They thought we were extinct. He looked down at Vashar. But I walked in. And the doors sealed shut. Elias stood in the center of the chamber, motionless. He wasn't holding a weapon, but the air around him was heavier than plasma. The War Council had been locked in with a human relic, one who refused to be forgotten. You said your message was a warning, Chancellor Vashar said, voice low. You've delivered it. Now what? Elias didn't move. Now you listen. The war table reactivated on its own. Its interface shimmered, unresponsive to any counselor. Elias had hijacked the core OS. Not just the chamber. The entire citadel. Your AI's override protocols are 2 centuries old, Elias said. You never upgraded them because you never thought you'd need to. That's your real failure. Arrogance. I'll have your mind dissected for this, Vashar snarled. Elias finally turned. Try it. But first, watch. The center display lit up again, flickering to a classified Zanari archive. A line of ancient, black-stamped records scrolled across the screen. Directive 27, Humanity, Extinction Protocol. Status, executed. Reason, behavioral instability. Cultural contagion. Refusal to comply. Silence. Elias stepped to the edge of the hologram. You hid this file behind 6 layers of encryption. And you still left the kill switch open. I guess it never occurred to you that one of us might survive. One of the counselors, a gaunt, amphibious diplomat from the Karen Reach, leaned forward. This is council-sealed data. How did you access it? I didn't. The AI that thawed me did. Before it died. He touched his wristband. The footage changed. Now, a grainy log, one of Earth's last broadcasts. A man sat in a bunker. Eyes sunken, face caked in ash. His voice was raw. To anyone out there. This is Commander Jared Holtz, Southern Hemisphere Command. The Zanari ships are breaking through over Antarctica. We've lost orbital defense. Earth is done. Don't forget us. Please. Even if it's just one of you. Remember we were here. The feed cut. Static followed. Then silence. Elias stood taller. That was my commander. We made a pact. One of us had to live. That was our only revenge. Vayshar's hand curled into a fist. That message proves nothing. Humanity burned because it chose war. No, Elias said, eyes locked. We burned because you feared how quickly we adapted. Because we didn't kneel. You feared what we'd become if left unchecked. He tapped again. Another file bloomed to life. This time, a report authored by Vayshar himself, dated nearly 900 years ago. Human technological acceleration exceeds safe thresholds. Emotional variance too high. Population resilient to psychological suppression. Recommend permanent suppression. Final phase, extinction by orbital ocean sterilization. Vayshar didn't flinch. We preserved galactic balance. You preserved your empire, Elias shot back. You murdered 10 billion lives because your version of peace couldn't tolerate resistance. The amphibious Karen diplomat looked shaken. Is this true, Chancellor? Vayshar turned on him. You supported the directive, Grax. Don't act enlightened now. Grax recoiled. We were told Earth struck first. That humans detonated suns. They didn't, Elias said. That was a fabrication. A sun flared naturally in the Tarsus system. You blamed us. The media followed your lead. Then came the fleets. The chamber began to shift. Not physically, but emotionally. Guilt cracked through old certainties. Shame wore through thick diplomatic skin. Elias moved again, this time to a small pedestal where council insignias were carved into crystal. He placed a new item beside them, a scorched earth coin. Charred but intact. This was in my cryopod, he said. No value. Just memory. He looked at them, 12 species, 12 killers, 12 cowards. I didn't come to ask for justice. There's no justice for the dead. I came to show you what you've become. The screens around the chamber flickered once more. Rebel systems. Rotary transmissions. In hushed codes and pulsed syntax, requests for help. Pleas for weapons. Messages of uprising. You're about to do it again, Elias said. Same extermination. Different species. And you'll call it order. Just like you called it on Earth. Counselor Grax spoke, voice uneasy. You broadcast this already? No, Elias said. But I will. If I walk out of here with my pulse still ticking, I'll light up every node between here and the Helios verge. The truth will spread faster than your fleets can chase it. You would ignite civil war, Vayshar warned. I would give others the choice you never gave us. The Chancellor drew closer. You're playing with ancient wounds, Rhane. The galaxy has moved on. You think you'll be remembered as a savior? You'll be forgotten the moment your blood hits the floor. Maybe, Elias said. But not today. For a brief moment, both men stared at each other. One a monument of power built on centuries of silence. The other, living proof of everything they tried to erase. A voice cut in. Sharp. Female. Synthetic. Override accepted. Security command transferred, Commander Elias Rhane. The Citadel AI had chosen a side. Emergency lighting kicked in. The door glowed faint red. No one could enter. No one could leave. Grax whispered, almost reverently. You're not here to ask. You're here to end it. Elias didn't smile. But he nodded once. I came to wake up the galaxy. Outside the chamber, the Citadel's ships hovered in silent formation. But signals were already leaking. Rebels receiving fragments. Civilized worlds seeing suppressed files unshackled from their chains. Unfiltered history bleeding through pristine firewalls. Elias stepped back to the center. "I'll say it one last time," he said. "We were never extinct. We were waiting." A moment passed. Then another. And for the first time in centuries, the War Council said nothing at all. The chamber lights dimmed to blood orange. Emergency protocols bled through the Citadel, but nothing responded. Doors stayed sealed. Internal comms fell silent. The War Council was isolated, trapped with the last human. Vashar stood stiff, his voice controlled but eyes burning. "End this now, Rhane. What you've started will collapse star systems." Elias didn't flinch. "No. What you started collapsed my world." He raised his wrist. With one gesture, every screen in the chamber shifted. The broadcasts began. First to rebel colonies. Then to neutral systems. Finally, to every council-linked civilization across the galactic core. Each screen bore the same message. "This is Commander Elias Rhane. Last of Earth." Humanity was erased. The Council lied. Directive 27 was real. Then came the files. Redacted transmissions. Sterilization logs. Proof of orbital strikes. Footage of children pulled from rubble on Europa. The truth wasn't loud, but it didn't need to be. It was raw. Unfiltered. Enough. Counselor Grax staggered back from his pedestal. "You're going to bring it all down." "I'm giving them a choice," Elias said, calm. "The kind we never got." Vashar stepped forward. His voice dropped. "You broadcast lies. Propaganda." Elias met his gaze. "I broadcast your own words." He tapped again. One final file opened. A private communication, 810 years old. Chancellor Vashar speaking to a shadowed council of 3. "They're outpacing projections. We won't control them much longer. The humans have to go. Quietly. Make it look like disease or civil war. Bury it beneath statistics." Gasps filled the chamber. Even the guards hesitated now. Vashar lunged. In one fluid motion, he drew a plasma blade from his sleeve, a council weapon never meant for display. Its heat hissed as it ignited. Enough speeches. Elias dodged the first strike. The blade carved a deep gouge into the chamber floor. He didn't reach for a weapon. He didn't need one. The Citadel itself was his weapon. "AI, drop gravity." Sector 4. A pulse thrummed through the floor. The chamber's artificial gravity inverted for a split second, just enough to disorient every non-human in the room. The counselors flailed, hovering midair. Vashar slammed into the wall. Elias landed in a practiced roll. He stood, eyes cold. "You always thought your strength was in power," he said. "It was in secrecy. You lost that." Vashar pushed off the wall, snarling. "You think this galaxy will follow you? A relic from a ruined world?" Elias moved fast this time. He caught the Chancellor's wrist mid-swing, twisting hard. The blade clattered to the floor. Elias drove his elbow into the alien's ribs, anatomy learned from war files, nothing forgotten. Vashar fell, gasping. Elias stood over him. Breathing steady. "You erased 10 billion voices. I'm just the echo." He turned away. "Kill me, and you become me," Vashar rasped. "I'm already what you fear," Elias replied. "I just chose not to finish the job." He looked around the chamber. Alien faces, diplomats, commanders, elites, drifted in stunned silence. "I'm not here for revenge. I'm here so none of you can lie again." The doors hissed. Power flickered. The AI had restored basic systems. Just enough. A message came through. Encrypted. Shortwave. Rotary uplink, received broadcast. Insurrections sparked on 3 moons. Enslaved factions responding. AI nodes rebooting. Hope confirmed. Another followed. Karen Frontier, Council in chaos. Internal vote to dissolve power structure underway. We believe your words. Stand by. Elias closed the feed. He turned to the council. This is no longer your galaxy. You ruled by erasure. Now every system knows. Counselor Grax tried to speak. What happens now? That's up to them, Elias said. I've shown them the truth. Let them decide what's worth saving. He walked to the center console, still hijacked, still blinking, and opened a channel directly into the Citadel's communication beacon. One last transmission. This is not a declaration of war. This is an end to silence. If you remember Earth, remember this. We never surrendered. We were never extinct. Only waiting. Watching. Learning. He paused. Then, now we speak. He ended the transmission. The Citadel groaned as power returned fully. Systems rebooted across orbit. Drones reconnected. The fleet above realigned, but too late. The message had already spread. Vashar lay slumped against the wall, bleeding violet from his jaw. Still alive. Still seething. Elias looked down at him. Live with it. Let the galaxy see you for what you are. No execution. No martyrdom. Just truth. That's the slowest death there is. The human turned toward the exit. As he passed the scorched earth coin on the pedestal, he paused. Picked it up. Pocketed it. And walked out. Behind him, the chamber didn't speak. Couldn't. Every word would be remembered now. Every lie, archived. Outside the Citadel, space shimmered. Systems lit with rebellion. Ships turned away from fleets. Flags that had not flown in centuries reappeared. Resistance had a name again. Elias Rhane. Not a soldier. Not a savior. Just a man who refused to stay buried. And across the stars, from ruins and mines and enslaved outposts, one whisper returned. We are human.